inconsistency, but I'll address that in complete. Mr. Chairman, my first question will take me to the nominees' former role as Minister responsible for energy. On the 19th of October 2019, the Millennium Challenge Corporation terminated the PDS agreement. Ghana lost a whopping $190 million. You had said earlier, on August 15, 2019, that you discovered fraud in the whole PDS agreement. Considering that Ghana has managed this compact right from the days of President Kufuor, President Mills, President Mahama successfully, will you say that there was some dereliction on your part, some lack of due diligence, which led to Ghana incurring this loss, which continues to reverberate in international corridors?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, of course, it's on record that the government of Ghana terminated the relationship between the Power Distribution Service Company, PDS, and the ECG. The termination, Mr. Chairman, was triggered as a result of occurrence of certain material evidences that need to have been provided, that in view of government that were not provided. Mr. Chairman, it's important to note that a due diligence process in any construction activity is not an event. It's always an ongoing activity. The relationship between ECG and PDS under the arrangement was that there were certain conditions that we call condition precedents that were supposed to occur before the transfer of assets that we all witnessed in March. It came out clear that one of the critical items which has to do with the security of the assets, that the source of that security of assets was not genuine, was not valid, and it was described by even the same agency that was presupposed to have issued the security as fraud. On that basis, ECG and government thought that leaving an asset value of about $3 billion to a hand of the PDS, where security of those assets cannot be guaranteed, will not be good in management of our national assets as a country. Don't forget, these assets are for government and being managed on behalf of government by ECG. And so in event of default, if ECG cannot go back and get its $3 billion asset because the basis of covering that asset is found not to be valid, then of course the only thing that will be left to government is to go out of the marriage relationship. And I think this is exactly what government does. Now, the school of thought is that government has lost an amount of about 100 million as a result of the terminations of the marriage relationship between the two parties. Well, this 100 million is the money coming from the United States of America, the MCC compact. But do we look at the opportunity cost? Are we looking at the 100 million as an independent, irrespective of what would have happened? Do we want to say that, yes, let's go for the 100 million, but in case of default, we cannot call on the payment security, which is about 3 billion, which is higher? Obviously, any rational country will look at its asset ownership in terms of the value. So to me, the 3 billion, of course, far in excess of the 100 million that we're losing, because in case of default, we may not be able to call on our asset value of about $3 billion. So in my view, that contract, of course, as you rightly put it, yes, I did describe it as fraudulent, because from the source of where we're supposed to get a guarantee, they themselves described it as fraudulent, because number one, they stated that they are not in capacity to issue such a high level of guarantee. The person who issued the guarantee don't have the capacity to issue that guarantee. And number three, and that for such a guarantee to be issued, it needs to go through their national system. And all these things have not been done when we went on the verification exercises. It was on that basis that I described the deal as fraudulent. And I don't think Ghana government, in the long run, have lost anything from that deal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, just a full honorable for a minute, excuse me. Did you formally communicate any concern on the guarantees to PDS? And are you aware that PDS is in court making some claims? So other than the figure that the Honorable Blanco have shared with you, there were losses from the United States of America, the Millennium Challenge Authority, and then MIDA. Those losses is what he has referred to. A judgment that occasioning out of it will constitute some loss to the Republic. What do you have to say to this? Thank you, Chair.
Well, Mr. Chairman, that will be predetermined. I would, Mr. Chairman, with all respect, because the case is within the court, I wouldn't say there will be any need for a judgment there. Any aggrieved party has a right to seek judicial, address when it finds itself in a very difficult commercial position. PDS has found itself in this commercial position, and they have every right to go to court. But I think government of Ghana is right. The advice from Attorney General's office is right. The ECG has put in every indication that they've undergone this due diligence process, and we have every fact and details which trigger the termination of that contract. So I think that there will not be any a judgment in the future. Though they are in court, I don't.
Chairman, my other question, did you write to PDS to draw their attention to the fact that there were problems with the guarantees that they issued?
Yes, of course, ECG drew the attention of PDS, PDS, as
Chairman, we would appreciate any correspondence on the subject, whether from ECG or from you as Minister, any official communication to PDS, drawing their attention to those concerns you had with the guarantee. We appreciate you making it available to the Chairman through the clerk. Thank you. Honorable Blackwell.
Sorry, Chairman, my question is a specific one. Do you take responsibility or not? Were you derelict?
Come again, Mr. Chairman, please.
Do you take responsibility for the whole PDS debacle, the whole caboodle? You were the sector minister. Do you take responsibility?
Yes, of course, Mr. Chairman, sector minister at the time of which the terminations happened, must be responsible for assets and liabilities. So yes, of course, I take responsibility, and I know the termination was done at good cause and for convenience of Mother Ghana.
Honorable, was it your personal decision as a minister or a cabinet decision you implemented? Was it your personal decision as a minister or a cabinet decision you implemented?
Mr. President, this is a cabinet decision that we've implemented. It was not my unilateral decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The decision for termination was a cabinet decision.
Mr. Chairman, my second question, and by the way, the MCC official statement said the loss was $190 million, 190, and not $100 million. That is what Ghana lost. But let me move to the second question. 12 November 2019, Accra to have first Sky train station in August 2020. This is TV3 News. The proposed Sky train initiative in Accra provides for the development of 5 routes. The concession agreement for the construction of the Accra Sky train project has been signed on the sidelines of the ongoing African Investment Forum in Johannesburg. The signing of the agreement means feasibility studies spanning a period of 9 months to determine the bankability of the project will commence, with the investors assuring the first station of the Accra SkyTrain project will be opened in 9 months. At the signing ceremony on Monday, November 11, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo described it as a happy day for Ghana and her good people, unquote, adding that it is a critical step towards the consummation of this project and vivid testimony of the value of the African Investment Forum. President Akufo-Addo thanked the SkyTrain Consortium for putting together the wherewithal that is allowing this project to go forward, unquote. From your briefings you have received, why was this promise not achieved, that Accra will get a first SkyTrain in August 2020? We are now in February. And is this project still on course?
Thank you, Mr. President. The project is still on course. From advice I got from my ministry that if this House gives me the nod, I'll be going. The ministry, as part of its effort to improve the urban mobility and reduce traffic congestion in Accra, has engaged the services of firms to provide transaction advice services to the Ministry for the Development of this light rail. As I speak today, the transaction advisors, Mr. Chairman, have undertaken a number of feasibility studies that will assist the ministry to go through the various phases for the development. This SkyTrain that we're talking about is not the normal train, the train that you see in the sky running on electricity lines, but it's just going to be a high-rise train. What it means is that we'll raise up the columns, and of course, because of the congestion within the city, this train will be going above the normal ground level. So they'll be going up in the sky, but it doesn't necessarily mean the sky train as we normally talked about. So the government is in the process to partner with a PPP arrangement to undertake this. The delay in the project is as a result of any construction project delay, some understanding with regard to the negotiation that is currently blocking the construction. If I assume office, Mr. Chairman, I want to assume this House, if they give me the nod, that it will be one of the priority projects that I will take into consideration, because that definitely would also address our traffic congestion that we have within Accra and Kumasi. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, my final question is a reputational matter, but very important, very, very grave issue. On the 27th of December 2020, a bailiff from the Ho High Court by name Emmanuel Aziaka, who was asked by the court following a successful ex parte injunction which had been secured by the legendary Chachu Chikata. The bailiff told the media that your men, your macho men, upon citing him, physically assaulted him. To be clear, they beat him to pulp. The pictures make for worrying observation. My Joy Online reports, bailiff says he was beaten by Amewu's boys while delivering injunction. City FM Online on the same day interviewed Mr. Aziaka, and he said, quote, Mr. Amewu rolled down the glass of his car when I was being attacked by his boys, and he rolled it back up. He did not intervene, unquote. How do you respond to this grave matter? Because you have been checking, you have since not uttered a word following this incident.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first, let me put it on record that I am not a violent person, but I also want to use the opportunity to sympathize with the bailiff if the incident did happen. I was told of this incident 3 days after the Thanksgiving program that I have undertaken. And it was on social media that I saw this, that a gentleman was attacked. Those cannot be my tasks. I work with very faithful and dedicated people that accompany me to my scene. If indeed this happened, of course, I don't see the reason why it should be attributed to me. I sympathize with him if that actually happened, but I cannot never be held responsible, and I never on any occasion roll my glass to look at a victim that has been beaten. That is not my nature. If I did come across such instances, what I have done under normal circumstances is to stop it, irrespective of what might be happening. So I never rolled my glass. I was not at the scene of the incident, but I saw this also in social media. And if it did happen, I sympathize with him. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any action you took when you saw it on social media?
I immediately called 3 of the guys that were following me, my security guys, and asked them. But they said no, they are not responsible. And at that time, they have also not heard the news. So I was showing to them that this is what I've said. I tried to interrogate it, and I was told by them that they were not responsible and they know nothing about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Colleagues, it's 2 hours. We will take a 5 minutes break, walk around, and resume in exactly 5 minutes.